Welcome back, everybody. It's been a little bit, but we got a fun and up-to-date absurd pod for you guys today. Sardor, any words for the audience?
Yes, I just want to start off kind of with the wild card, so to say, to just warm things up. Something's been on my mind lately. I'm sure you guys have all seen these viral videos of like VO3, the new AI model by Google, and what it's been doing, right? The very realistic videos. I think it's the first video model that actually has sound in it too, right? Which not only is it super realistic, it still has some flaws where you can tell like it's AI, but the fact that it has sound and it can talk in any language is crazy. Google definitely was it on this pod that we talked about, Andrew, where you know how Sundar Pichai, Google CEO this year in January said, this is our revenge year for AI. He said
Yeah,
that.
because
So
everybody's
yeah.
everybody's been hating on them for lagging, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I remember when in 2023 I was in Google's office in Chicago, they were like, all these GPTs, we invented the term GPT. All the stuff is by Google. They've taken our stuff. They were like really pissed. And these were like employees of Google, not even like CEO. I heard that live at Google's office, right? And like CEO said, this is our revenge year. So like VO3 is an example of that. But one thing I wanted to just real quick before we start with the agenda, talk to you about is like, you haven't heard about prompt theory? Dude, this is wild stuff. So I'm into philosophy and psychology and all that. And obviously with technology also being my top interest. This prompt theory is a combination of like philosophy and technology, like Black Mirror real stuff, right? So you know about the free will theory versus determinism.
I can't say I do.
So like free will, there's two schools of philosophy, right? There's philosophers that believe in free will theory, that basically we have free will, and then there's determinism, which says, well, everything's determined. God or whoever, or universe, already determined everything, right? And so prompt theory basically is this concept where the prompter, which is you, the user, you input a prompt where you make the characters in the video discuss the prompt theory, which says to them that there's a prompter, you basically, that they're not real, that they're just output of prompt, right? Which they are. We know that they are, right? Like
Yeah.
these AIs in the video I'm talking about, they're like output of prompt, correct? And it's so wild when you put a prompt that says make people discuss prompt theory, that somebody argues that, well, we're just the output of prompt, and the other person on the other end says, well, no, we're real. What do you mean we're prompt?
Wow. So you
You
got you got
know?
two AIs arguing whether they are real or just figment of.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And there's different episodes of this whole thing that like there's a protest on the street that says, we're not prompts, we're not prompts. And then there's a podcast where this girl says, have you heard about prompt theory? There are people who speculate that we're not real and we're just the output of prompt. And the other person just laughs at it, says, what a bullshit. Or then this girl on a stand-up comedy goes and says, the biggest red flag is when a guy tells me that he believes in prompt theory, that we're just the output of a prompt, and the audience laughs. Dude, that's like so mind-boggling because the video is fucking real, right? You think about it, oh my God, this is just, to me, it's so wild. It's like, because we know it's not real, but you see in the video that they're as real as humans, right? Then this brings up the whole fucking simulation theory that, our friend Elon right here, he's convinced that we're all a simulation, right?
Yeah.
So like we're at the point where AI simulation, we can watch an AI simulation, speculate about whether they're real or not, or they're output of prompt, which we know they're output of prompt. But then you think, oh shit, what if I'm an output of a prompt?
Yeah, that's
You know
wild.
what I mean?
Really changes your state of mind and perspective on things.
It drives it towards existential crisis. That's what it's been doing to me. It's like the more I think about it. So that's kind of what I wanted to open up with, because this is, and the last thing, last mind-boggling video I saw today on this is that there was these AI like kind of complaining that, do you guys all know where we go after the prompt is over? We're in a purgatory. We're nowhere. Like, if you create us as old, we always stay old. If you create us as sick, we always stay sick. And it's like so crazy, man. We're almost at a point where they're gonna have their own universe and live there, and then there's gonna be all these ethical dilemmas around. Is it even okay to give them the life that we're given? It's
Yeah.
like, what's that show called? There's obviously Black Mirror. If you guys haven't seen Black Mirror, White Christmas episode about this.
Very
That's
good
the
episode.
wildest. Have you seen that episode?
My favorite episode.
Yeah, that's the wildest episode of Black Mirror that basically shows ethical dilemmas around like what we can do with AI, right? Because they're gonna have their own lives. They're almost already having in these prompts, these AIs almost having their own lives,
Yeah,
right?
and then it makes you think of like, wow, we're capable of creating, these other digital beings. Is that what we are, right?
Yes, exactly, exactly. Because you think, waha, that's funny. They're thinking they're not prompts, but then we're like, oh shit, what if we are prompts, right? So,
Yeah.
man,
That's,
wild stuff, wild stuff. We're
it
almost there.
also reminds me of Black Mirror. If you haven't checked it out, you should. It's called Love, Death,
West.
Robot.
Oh, I've
Love,
seen that
Death,
one.
Robot.
Yeah.
And there's a yogurt one where theoretically the AI is yogurt, and yogurt takes over as the president of the country, and there's a lot of those like picket fence signs, down with the yogurt, and scenes like that. It's a good episode you should check out.
Oh, actually, maybe that's not what I've seen. I got to check that one out. I thought you were talking about something else. And yeah, the other one is Westworld also, where they create simulations. Anyways,
Good
life's a
intro.
fucking simulation.
Yeah, good
Let's go.
intro. Good intro. Let's roll into it. All right, what do we got here? Why digital detoxes fail and what to do instead. So that tweet here says you don't scroll because you're bored. You scroll because your nervous system is locked in survival mode. That's why digital detoxes fail 94% of the time. The neuroscience of reclaiming your brain from big tech without using willpower. There's a thread here, and that is mighty interesting. And I think I would agree with that. People use doom scrolling as kind of a deflection to escape a little bit of escapism from reality. But it's not because you're bored, it's because you don't want to do something else. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, so this is saying that it fails because, we don't understand why we're doing this, correct? Right? That we're
Yeah,
that we're
it's not purely being bored, it's, a deeper level than that. You're trying to avoid something is my assumption.
correct. No, I mean all of us to some extent are trying to avoid something, whether it's on a micro level, just avoiding routine work, like the screen fatigue, which ironically we go into other screen fatigue, which actually brings up a business opportunity, man. Like those apps like Touch the Grass we talked about on last episodes. Dude, I think there's an opportunity here on the business side to create some kind of either a device or how we had what was that thing called? The fidget things?
Fidget spinner?
Fidget spinners, yeah. Remember how those were hot?
Yeah.
Like, which is a whole different story. Fidget spinners originally came out on one of those crowdfunding platforms like what's the popular one, Kickstarter. And
Yeah.
then before it was live, Chinese people on AliExpress started selling them on AliExpress before they even came out publicly, which is a funny thing. But dude, I think like yeah, this is totally an escapism. But the thing is, the irony here is like we're escaping from screen to screen. I think a lot of us are just on a micro level, unless there's bigger issues on your personal level. We're trying to escape screen fatigue from Slack, from email, from this and that into social media. I would personally love to have some kind of I don't know about the fidget spinner, but some kind of physical non-screen device in my hand that I could use as a escapism in between my calls and meetings and kind of escape from the screen fatigue into like a physical device. I don't know what that could be, but I think there's a massive opportunity here to create some kind of a device like the fidget spinner, but maybe a little more engaging, maybe a little more of a like how we used to have as a kid. I don't know if you had those like games where you push a button and you got to get the ring and the pole, some kind of a physical game like that.
Yeah. And it also makes me think of, maybe it's something that's already out there and we've talked about before, that AI audio device. So not just recording and intaking it, but two-way conversations with another person that could also help you continue to work potentially without looking at the screen. Hey,
Yeah.
hit your limit on the screen. Let's continue working here. Here's the things you still have left over from the day to do. And here are the ones that I think that we can accomplish talking through with each other together. Or complete side note, what else is on your mind? Trying
I love
to
that. I love that.
engage you in a productive conversation outside of the screens, still AI, and you still feel productive. Because I think, at least for me, that's one of my biggest issues to actually get off the screen. Is then I feel like I'm not being productive because
Yeah.
it's been so ingrained that got to be on the computer to be productive.
Yeah, I don't know about multitasking while on screen and audio, But I like the idea of like having an audio device. Like we're getting a lot of these wearables that are like pendants and limitless AI is what I got. By the way, I broke it because one of the problems is like, dude, I did my laundry with it because like it was stuck on my shirt and I threw my shirt into laundry and the limitless pendant is broken. I got to use it maybe for a week, but sucks. I hope I can fix it. But it still says listening, but it goes gibberish when I records. But I think there's definitely an opportunity for not just one way pendant, like you said, that listens to, but like something that connects to your AirPods and you can interact. I love just going for a short walk in between my meetings, right? Or like grab a coffee. And at that time, my ADHD brain wants something, which is why I interact with Alexa a lot. But Alexa is not on, like, it's not, with me.
Yeah.
Which I think is why actually, well, our guy Zuck was working on, is the glasses. I think are going to do really well. People talking with their glasses, I think, is going to be very commonplace. It's pushing those glasses really well. So I think actually what you just described is going to be the glasses from Meta. My prediction is Meta's going to win this game. I bet on Zuck winning this game, and I think that's going to be our next kind of thing for it.
Yeah, love that, love that. Well, let's roll on to our next topic here. The AI layoff wave no one's talking about. Let's look at the tweet here first. Massive layoffs incoming. No one's talking about it. Anthropic CEO just went on live TV and dropped a chilling warning. AI is advancing faster than anyone imagined, and it's about to wipe out millions of jobs. Finance, tech, law, consulting. Entry-level white-collar work is on the edge of extinction. My initial thought here is that this is going to rework our society in a manner of where people, if they have enough determination and passion and use that free will you talked about, they're going to be able to do essentially whatever they want with AI. Right? It's a lot easier to spin up a business. It's a lot easier to ask AI, here's my passions, what could I build for this, an app, a product, you name it. And I think that is going to be the positive side of this. But I also think there's going to be the negative side of this. That yes, AI in the coming years is going to take a lot of entry-level white-collar jobs. I've already talked to a lot of college students or fresh graduates that had jobs at big consulting, big, top 4 accounting firms that have been pushed off 5, 6, 7 months or more because they're in between a legal dilemma of rescinding all those contracts and taking these people on while they're in the same time replacing them with AI. So that's my initial thought. What do you got, Sardor?
Yeah. Well, first thing I have to note, my first reaction to these news was, well, there's some truth to it, but we always got to think of like when a piece of news or announcement comes, who is this coming from? And do they have a conflict of interest or a bias towards saying this? Which Anthropic CEO obviously wants to make headlines, and it's in his best interest to push AI. Sam Altman says a lot of things that are outrageous. So does he, right? So I take that with a little bit of grain of salt. Is like, this guy is definitely not the most independent person to say this.
Yeah.
But there's truth to it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I would say the only caveat here is when he pushed this and went on the live TV there, I actually watched it, and he suggested, surprisingly, that there should be an excise tax on AI companies such as Anthropic for the dilemma we're going to run into with all these entry-level white-collar workers being out of jobs, that AI companies should start paying a new type of tax to subsidize.
Oh yeah, he said that. He did say that. Which, yeah, I guess maybe that's one of his ways to show that I'm not biased. See, I'm going against myself. I take that even with some skepticism, but I do agree. I 100% believe, Andrew, is going to happen. The AI tax. AI tax that's going to contribute towards universal basic income, 100% in the next 5 years, I think, is going to happen. Because this thing, when it comes, it's going to be very quickly taking over jobs. Those who are, I think it's going to be, maybe they're not going to call it universal basic income. You know what they're going to call it? They're going to call this my prediction. Maybe not exactly this. Maybe I'll coin the term, whoever's listening, but it'll be called something like a cushion tax, or like a cushion payment. This is your cushion payment for X amount a month until you find a job or retrain yourself for another job. If you This is what the government is going to announce soon, okay? In the next 5 years, hear me out on this. My prediction. They're going to announce a cushion benefit that's going to be provided to everybody that lost their job to AI. It's going to be like maybe 3 to 6 month payment that you're going to get, like a paycheck you're going to get from a government, for you to sustain yourself until you retrain yourself to a new job. Okay. And there's going to be subsidies to go and learn AI and new skills and new jobs from the government to contribute to this changing economy. That's my prediction. That is if, like, obviously we have a proper administration that's going to react on time. If US is not going to do it, China's going to do it, or other big countries are going to do it, this is definitely happening.
I like the bold take. I like the bold take, Sardar.
Yeah.
All right. This one we'll touch on
Oh yeah.
briefly. This happened, was it yesterday or the day before here?
I think it was yesterday.
Yep. Another Cloudflare outage. Now, this one wasn't as big as the last one. And if you recall, we talked about Cloudflare a couple episodes ago of how they have lava lamps for their encryption keys.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's wild.
And funny enough, there's some images here on this post that aren't showing, but I said, I wonder if this was an attack or this was typically this happens when they're doing a migration or data transfer maintenance. And that's exactly what it was. They had scheduled maintenance at the top of the hour yesterday for their Tokyo data center. And then 20 minutes later, almost every AI product, including Firebase, Lovable, Bolt, you name it, was down.
Warcraft, yeah. Wait, but the Google Auth was down too, no? Was this all caused by Cloudflare?
Google was down as well. Google Meet, Google Cloud.
This is all because of Cloudflare?
That is the answer that I've seen and gotten. So I
Wow.
was wondering about that. Like, does Google's big enough? Do they really need to use
Yeah,
Cloudflare?
I don't think so. I think there's a deeper side to it. I thought Cloudflare was one of the affected companies, which then trickled down to other companies. But I think that the root cause is deeper than this. I don't think Google uses Cloudflare.
Does
That's a
Google?
good question. That's a trivia question to our listeners, guys. Whoever guessed this, leave a comment.
Yes.
Mom, please leave a comment.
Google's cloud platform uses Cloudflare.
Wow, that is insane. You get the gift on the
Yep.
trivia. You won the trivia.
Yep.
Well, that's wild. That's wild.
Yep. Yeah, the
But
cloud.
it's good that like, what was the other outage that happened last year that tricked over all the airlines? Like
Yeah, that
you
was
know what I'm talking about?
much broader and lasted
CrowdStrike,
for
CrowdStrike. Yeah, I
CrowdStrike.
thought this was going to be as big, if not bigger than CrowdStrike yesterday. I said it right away. Good thing I didn't put this on this pod. My prediction would have failed, but it got mitigated pretty quickly. Thank God. Thanks to those lava lamps, I guess.
Yep. They were back up and running. I think it was within an hour, and some
Yeah.
services trickle down effect. So one of the things I learned when you look at their status updates on fixing this problem was that there's going to be intermittent issues continuing because websites, services need to recache and re-update, reload. So a lot that goes into coming back online from something like this.
Yep.
All right, this one's important, and we don't have the image in here. We just got the text, which is
Our
hilarious.
favorite influencer, A2B2, has been posting this, huh?
Yep. These last two have been LinkedIn posts for myself. But to sum it up, Apple had their Worldwide Developer Conference, their yearly conference, earlier this week, and they announced two major things. One took the headlines, which was the liquid glass, a new design feature that there's been mixed opinions on. Funny enough, their YouTube thumbnail, the play button on YouTube covered the view in glass. So it displayed as liquid ass, and everybody was memeing it.
This should be a title of our today's episode, Liquid Ass. Why? Like, that's our
Liquid ass
clickbait.
to liquid glass. Yeah, they changed it. They changed it quickly. But the bigger thing here, and what the topic of this slide is that Apple's additional announcement of their foundation models framework is huge for
Yeah.
mobile apps and on-device AI. So instead of having to bring in OpenAI APIs into your application build to achieve AI functionality, Apple's on device, Apple Intelligence, developers can now tap into that to take even further action of where it can cross-reference your notes application if you give it the ability to, your calendar if you give it the access to, and bring that data and I guess schedule into your application itself. So what do you think about Apple's on-device AI, and what does it mean for developers and app founders?
Yeah, first of all, on the whole WWDC thing, Liquid Glass I like. I've installed both iOS 26 and macOS 26. Both I love. Way better design standards. Honestly, you should all opt into beta. So worth it, UX wise. Now, when it comes to this, well, the on-device AI. So I wasn't sure if this was powered by GPT or is this like their own model.
So not positive if it's GPT in the back end of Apple Intelligence here, but the one thing I can confirm with GPT is Apple shouted it out as GPT tools are built into the Apple developer with Xcode 26. So they are in partnership to where you can use GPT on
Yeah.
the back end.
So yeah, this one's confusing to me because they did not say they created their own model. As far as I know, they were always powered by GPT. But then on device, GPT cannot be on device. Like they don't, it doesn't work offline. So I think they made a unique deal where it's still powered by GPT, but it's on device. But that would mean that they would have to open up their code base to Apple, as far as I understand, if it's on device. There's a lot of questions here. To our friends that are developers, leave your comments on what you think, how that's possible. You know what's also interesting is if that is the case, it's kind of a Sam Altman's playing like a very interesting role here. Of he acquired, as we know, John Ive's company, the design studio, for $6.5 billion. John Ive was the ex head of design at Apple. That
Talking
is
about Windsurf?
now, huh?
Are you talking about Windsurf?
No, no. Johnny Ive. You know, Johnny Ive was the ex head of design at Apple,
Oh,
the bald guy. You haven't heard that news?
name sounds familiar, but no, I haven't.
Johnny Ive was the head of design at Apple who left like 3 years ago. Opened up his own agency, by the way, agency for design, nothing else, agency. Then that agency just got acquired by OpenAI because OpenAI is going to be designing a hardware device. That hardware device is going to be by the same guy that designed the iPhone and Mac and iOS, everything. Yeah, that's big news, dude, that we missed on. Now
That's
look at
true.
this. Now look at this. So Sam Altman's going after Apple with this hardware device because he's determined to create the next hardware device of the AI age, which Apple's slacking on, right? At the same time, he's so powerful that he doesn't fucking care. Like he hired Apple's ex-head of design to go after Apple, at the same time selling the GPT to Apple as well. Because
Wow.
that means just Apple's sucking shit at AI so bad that they're relying on OpenAI fully on their AI. They also let go of their head of design and gave it up to OpenAI and
They
letting
even
them create the fucking thing against themselves. It's just how badly Apple's failing.
it's weird. I feel like they got something in their back pocket, but it's interesting timing because earlier this week, Apple put out a paper, a research report on reasoning models are not the future. That there's limitations of reasoning models, and it's only going to
Well,
go so far. I didn't look into it too much, but we
hopefully
definitely
they got
should.
something in their back pocket. Yeah, I mean, I'm rooting for Apple too. I love Apple products, but their age is coming to an end, I think, with this. That said, I gotta jump. It's been 5 minutes over for my next call. It's been a fire episode, man. We should do more often.
Yeah.
Let's continue
So,
these things on the next episode.
yep,
Oh
we
man,
got more.
another one.
Oh my gosh, James, you had to do
Okay.
me like that.
I love it. All right.
Yeah, it's good. All right,
Catch you on the
cheers.
next episode, all. Bye.
Yeah.